You don't have a discipline problem. You have an almost problem. And it's been quietly running your life.
You start strong. You plan. You talk about it. You imagine the outcome. For a moment, you look like someone who is about to change. But when the moment comes, when it's time to fully commit, you hesitate. Not because you can't, because finishing is dangerous. Almost is safe. Almost lets you taste progress without swallowing responsibility. Almost lets you say, "I'm working on it," without ever becoming it. And that's the addiction. You don't chase success, you chase proximity to it. Close enough to feel hope, not close enough to be exposed. Let me show you what this looks like. A man who signs up for the gym. He goes hard for 2 weeks, buys new shoes, posts a story, talks about discipline. Then the soreness hits, the early mornings hit, the boredom hits. He doesn't quit loudly, he just slows down. He almost became consistent. Or the person in a relationship who knows it's wrong. They say, "If it happens again, I'm leaving." It happens again. They don't leave. They almost chose themselves. Almost consistent, almost healed, almost detached, almost respected, always close, never complete. Because completion removes excuses. If you try fully and fail, there's nowhere to hide. But if you almost try, you can blame timing, energy, circumstances, other people. Almost protects your ego, and your ego loves protection. Here's the part you won't admit. Finishing changes you. It forces identity shift. If you truly get disciplined, you lose the version of you who negotiates. If you truly commit, you lose the option to retreat. If you truly transform, you lose your comfort identity. And comfort is what you're really protecting, not your dreams. You say you want more, but what you actually want is the emotional experience of wanting more. That feeling, that vision, that idea of potential. Potential is intoxicating, because potential doesn't demand results. Results demand proof. Proof demands risk. Risk demands courage, and courage demands loss. Almost lets you keep your fantasy self alive, the version of you who could have been great, without ever testing if you are. That's why you stop short. That's why you slow down when momentum builds. That's why you sabotage when success starts getting real. Because real success removes the dream and replaces it with responsibility. You are not unlucky. You are not misunderstood. You are strategically stopping right before the edge. Because the edge requires death. The death of your excuses. The death of your comfort identity. The death of who you've been pretending to be. And that feels terrifying. So you stay addicted to almost. You live in preparation. You speak in plans. You operate in intention. But you rarely finish. And every time you stop short, you teach yourself something dangerous. You teach yourself that your word doesn't mean much, that your effort is optional, that your ambition is negotiable. And slowly, without noticing, your self-trust erodes. Not because you failed, but because you never committed. The most powerful people you know are not the most talented. They are the ones who finish. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when it costs them the old version of themselves. They choose completion over comfort. And you? You keep flirting with almost. Here's the truth. Almost feels productive. Almost feels safe. Almost feels hopeful. But almost builds nothing. It only preserves the illusion that you're close. So decide.
Either finish or admit that you prefer comfort over power. Because you can't have both.